Hello, I'm Kayleigh and I'm a practicing social worker in the UK. In this video I'm going to be talking a bit about how some theory applies to practice. So specifically looking at the care and control debate, which is the key debate within social work. Essentially, the care element is really the reason that we come into social work in the first place. So that's all the side of social work which involves working with people, promoting their rights, and working in partnership, which often involves getting a sense for who that person is and how to work effectively with them. But that's not the only aspect of social work that we're required to do. We also have to work within a legal framework, and we also have to assess people's needs and constantly review risk in situations. And often we're working in situations and supporting people when there are high levels of risk, and we have to take account of that because we have to make sure that we're looking out for signs that people are at risk of harm and act accordingly. So that's where it fits in with the control element, because as social workers we have powers vested in us and we have to use that power responsibly, proportionately, and that means that we have to be really careful when we're balancing care and control. So that may involve thinking about least restrictive options when we are involved with supporting someone. So for example, I work with adults, and often there may be situations where it's an older adult who is experiencing dementia and that's having an impact on their ability to live at home. Risks may be that they're leaving the home and starting to wander in the streets, and that can cause risks associated with a road traffic accident or exploitation from people because they've lost the ability to weigh up the risk in that situation. Where in children's services it may be that children are experiencing neglect in a family situation, and the social worker has to work alongside the family to find a plan of how to work with that individual and that family to make sure that the child has their needs met, but also that they're safe and that their well-being is being promoted. So in both of these situations we have to respect the rights of the people involved. Everyone has rights and we have to consider human rights in every situation. In regard to the situation with the adult, we have to consider whether the person's able to make a decision for themselves and risk assess, and if they're not, we then sometimes have to make decisions in their best interests. And sometimes we do have to go with the most restrictive option, but that's not our first thought. We don't just go and do that straight away. We have to consider less restrictive options. So in the situation that I mentioned, it may be that the person has to go into a care home and can't remain in their own home even if that's not what they want. However, before we get to that point, we need to consider all of the other options available to people and also give weight to what the person wants and what they wanted in the past as well. So nothing in social work is straightforward, and it's always making decisions that are very complex and taking account of working alongside people, but also using our powers responsibly and acting upon them when you need to. And sometimes that can put you in a really difficult position. And I think sometimes it's easy to feel that you enjoy the parts of the role where you are working with people and you're respecting the rights and standing up for them because that's kind of your nature, I guess, and what's important to people. But also sometimes you have to make decisions that are quite uncomfortable, but like I said earlier, they're never made lightly. And I think it's just about really being aware of the balance that we're always keeping and the need to reflect on what we're doing and have good support so that we can make sound decisions.